Good morning. Happy Monday. Hope you had a great weekend. Welcome into the number one Group of Five college football podcast in the world. This is the Group of Five guys, and our mission is to be the voice for the Group of Five football programs, the voice that the mainstream sports media absolutely refuses to be. We need everybody's help to do that. We need you to follow us on all the social media platforms at Group of Five guys. Go to YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your best podcasts. Subscribe to the channel, leave a 5-star rating and a review. Tell your family and friends all about us. Or you can download the Varsity app for free. Listen to our show on there. Or last but not least, you can go to group5guys.com and get you some Group of Five Guys swag. On this episode, update on our amazing GoFundMe for the people of Boone, North Carolina. Of course, we're going to break down all of these games from Saturday. Talk about who's got the best shot right now at the playoff. It's starting to get interesting. Plenty more. Hope you enjoy the show. Have you had it from somebody born and raised in Lafayette, Louisiana, at a tailgate? Doubt it.
I said Michael Pratt has got to show up and play, and boy did he. 394 yards, 4 touchdowns, 48 rushing yards on the ground, and another touchdown.
Projected getting drafted between the first and third round. Like, that's incredible. The wide receivers are absolutely stacked for the Group of Five.
Yeah, I really appreciate you do for the Group of Five programs, and I think it's great. I think we should get more of this. But you guys are on the forefront of this, and
so I'm thankful for this. I'm glad that you're talking about the Group of Five because I think they get overlooked.
But it's a ton of fun to watch a guy go to the NFL from a Nevada or a Colorado State or a Middle Tennessee or an App State, and fans follow that kid.
Well, good morning, Jeff. I am still recovering a little bit from a weekend with the boys. The band was back together a little bit in Nashville, Tennessee, here with the Group of Five guys for our buddy Zeke's wedding. So a lot of traveling for me, man. I feel like I've been on the road for freaking really since the football season started, and unfortunately, I've only been to 3 games.
I know. It's been it's been an eventful first couple weeks of the season, not just with football, but it was probably I can't tell you the last time the original Group of Five guys were together in one setting. So, congratulations to Zeke and Olivia for getting married. It was an absolutely incredible night. Wish you guys nothing but the best and a very happy, long marriage.
Ain't no doubt about it, but it was great. And I'm going to tell you guys, the mission never stops for Jeff and I. Now, I know that there was some adult beverages flowing, but Jeff and I were out there trying to sell Middle Tennessee NIL. We were all in having business conversations with these people.
Sure were.
And, we're going to get into some of that on Wednesday a little bit, but if I can just say something, okay, these schools that you people, especially where we're at in the South, that some of these people worship so much, Alabama, Tennessee, Georgia, Auburn, all of them, all the usual suspects. They could, to quote their own people, give a piss about your little $100 NIL donation, and they could give a piss about you buying tickets, and they could give a piss about you buying merch. They're just going to raise the prices on you anyway. You know where it would actually make a huge difference? It's your local Group of Five school that your $100 or your $1,000 could actually go to keeping a player. So anyway, that's all. We'll talk about that a lot. But Jeff, the cure for the fatigue that we're dealing with right now, and that, my friend, is a hot cup of fresh Deca Gray Game Day Roast. Group of Five guys Game Day Dark Roast, available on decagray.com, as well as many other fantastic roast to order coffees. decagray.com. Use our promo code GOFG, 10% discount plus free shipping. It's really good coffee. Like I said, roast to order. As soon as you put the order in on the computer or your phone, then it gets roasted, then put in the bag, then sent directly to your home for an incredible coffee.
Yeah, and they just do a fantastic job. Another family-owned business that's supporting us in our mission. So we need you guys to go check them out as well. And I know we're gonna get right into it with the GoFundMe, but they're also supporting that GoFundMe for the people of Boone as well. So just a class act, family-owned business that's supporting the Group of Five guys. So we need you guys to go and support them.
Well, yeah, let's get into it, Jeff. Let's get into our headlines from the weekend. First things first, everybody knows by now the App State Liberty game got canceled due to Hurricane Helene. I think it's important for everybody to this is why anytime there's any type of a news story, it's very important to wait before you have comments or hot takes. Because a lot of people, I think, put their foot in their mouth for this one. Most important thing here is that the people in those areas are safe, their families. We were getting messages from people that, you're not able to hear from your family for days at a time sometimes. Now I've been through some pretty good storms, being from Florida, nothing where anybody, at least in my direct, family and friends and line of communication was, life was necessarily threatened. But man, sometimes you go without power for weeks. And I lose my mind when the power flickers in my house now. Dude, you go weeks without power. And you can't get anywhere. Traffic lights, everything's down, the roads are flooded. So you're pretty much barricaded in your home sometimes for weeks at a time with this stuff. And you add on top of that where, you maybe haven't heard from your family in a couple of days. You have no idea. And so to expect these kids to play a football game anywhere, I think is a little bit is a bad take. It's a really bad take, especially day of, the storm is hitting. It's not like it's okay. Storm hit a week ago. Now let's see if we can play somewhere else. But main thing before we talk about it a little more, we got to update you. We started a GoFundMe. Man, I give credit to you, Jeff, on that because I was thinking, let's see if we can get $500 for this thing. And you kept saying no. I think our network, I guess, will do a lot better than that. But man, guys, we set an initial goal for $2,500. We are over $7,000 at this point. If you visit our Twitter page, you can find the link to it. Or you can just search on GoFundMe, Group of Five guys. I think it's called Help Our Group of Five Family. Any penny that we get on there is going directly to Boone and the surrounding communities. So look, they're going to have a tough time. People are losing roofs, losing houses altogether. Roads. I mean, you saw the side of mountains falling off. So roads are going to have to be rebuilt. Vehicles lost. Simple things, clothes, food. Those are things that if you got flooded in your house and the power's out, all that's gone. So any little bit that we can do to help. I mean, look, as much as this is a college football podcast and all of that, and that's sort of what led us to do it is, we've been to Boone several times. We love Boone. Feel like Boone is sort of one of our many, don't get mad, like second teams to root for, because of how good those people have been to us and how awesome that community is and how awesome that university and that football program is. So anything we can do to help, we just sort of felt like with a little bit of following that we've been able to get. But man, just honored, number one, that it's gone as well as it's gone. And we're probably going to let it ride until probably the end of this week. And then what we're going to do is find the best organization where we can make sure the most amount of money goes directly to the people of Boone.
Yeah, and just want to echo Sprouse's sentiments. Thank you guys so much. we love college football. And we do this and like to have fun, but this to me is special because this is a time in need for a lot of different people. Houses lost, businesses lost. Some people, like Sprouse said, you couldn't get in touch with family members. So we want, this money that you guys so graciously, donated to this campaign, to go to these people that need the help. And to me, this is what life's all about. This is what being a Christian's all about, is when people need help, we're there. And I can't thank you guys enough. We have the best fans, best followers, and the retweets, the shares, the comments, and most importantly, your money that you gave. It means a lot, and we're going to make sure in our power that we can make sure that it gets to where it needs to go to help those communities.
Yeah, amen to that. Now, we do have to talk about this. This is the college football show. The implications of losing the game. The bigger implications here are for Liberty, right? And as down as App State has been so far this season, I mean, they're 2-2, but as for App State
for their
standards, this is not. It was not going to be the heavyweight matchup that we thought it was going to be preseason, but it was still Liberty's toughest game. And as far as on paper goes, now Sam Houston looks to be a pretty good team. Western Kentucky's a pretty good team. They're still going to have some tough games. But losing a game altogether now, where at best they're 12-0 instead of 13-0, with your biggest non-conference being a win versus ECU, I don't think Liberty has a shot at this point unless you have a 3-loss somebody else, whether that be your Sun Belt champion, your American, your Mountain West champion. I think Liberty's going to be out of the mix at this point.
Yeah, they're going to have some help, number one, because you still have, at this point, undefeated UNLV, 1-loss Boise State. Obviously, one of those teams will have one, if not 2 losses by the end of it. Or, UNLV, if they run the table, then they'll be undefeated, and they'll get the nod. But they're going to have some help, and then they're going to have to win with style. They're going to have to start blowing the doors off to have one last game on their schedule to get in over like you said, 2-loss would be really tough team. It's probably going to have to be a 3-loss team for them to get it, even being 12-0. It just is what it is. Like, life happens. It's unfortunate. But I think the loss going back last year again with the Fiesta Bowl hurts them in the long run too. So, when that game was going on, we were like, everybody needs to be rooting for Liberty. They're the Group of 5 rep, and they didn't. And I think not only it hurt the Group of 5 just standing a little bit to the, untrained, unwatched eyes of the committee. Although Oregon, only lost to the runner-up last year. That's neither here nor there. But, they're going to have some help. It is what it is. Not much you can do about it. You just got to take care of your business. That's literally all you can worry about. You can't play if or what's. It is what it is. Dominate your opponent across, win Conference USA, and see where the chips fall.
Yeah, and I do want to say this too, because we've talked about this before with Liberty and disregard fans. I think it's impossible. You cannot lump fans into one bucket. There's too many of them. And there's always an idiot, or there's always a crazy person. It's like this has become so similar to politics that it's honestly getting to be a little bit scary. But you can't lump any fan base. Fans are going to be fans and say stupid stuff on socials. What's disappointing to me is you've had your 2 best players say, in my opinion, inappropriate stuff. And I'll give both of them the benefit of the doubt that they probably did that before they realized the extent of the damage. What I don't like is your star quarterback then apologizing and throwing shade in the apology also, because it makes it worse. And then he did it again. He had 3 separate tweets, for anybody that doesn't know. So the announcement got made that the game was going to be canceled, and Quentin Cooley shared it on his Instagram story and put a comment, scared, and a little scared emoji or something. And then your quarterback, Caden Salter, commented on a post and put a duck, as if App State is ducking Liberty. Which, first of all, okay, App State in the history of their program hasn't ducked anybody. People duck App State. Power 4 teams duck App State. App State is not ducking anybody. And I don't think Liberty's ducking anybody. What you have here is you have an act of God storm that's literally catastrophic. Not any exaggeration. It's a life-threatening storm. And you had a couple athletic departments that it doesn't seem like could agree on whether or not or where to make it up. Now you're asking App State people to play it somewhere else, but the storm's still happening. They still have friends and family members and dealing with the storm, and you're asking them to just, we'll just play it a couple hours away. And then, maybe they make it up. I don't know. Maybe Liberty finds another game like they did. Maybe this is like the COVID year. Maybe they just go find BYU sitting there or something wanting to play, or Coastal wanting to play. But then your quarterback put the duck emoji, and then he got roasted. And then he apologized and basically said, sorry that my emoji offended such a tough fan base, like in a smart ass way. Like, come on, bro. And again, all this makes it worse because you're Liberty. People already don't like you. People already feel like you are a fake Christian diploma mill, is whatever they call it. So you have to live up to a higher standard because the target is on your back. You got to check it out because that's in the Bible that you're preaching about. You know what I mean? Like you've got to be conscious of that. And then, I'm sure the coaches were like, bro, take that down, dude. What are you doing? But it's disappointing, man, because you give people ammo. You have a stereotype about you, and you live up to the stereotype when you do stuff like that. Stereotypes are not, they're around because people continue to live up to them with any group. So you can't be mad when people hate on your university if that's how your leaders of your student body are acting. So,
yeah, and
really unfortunate, guys.
Yeah, and of course, like, as fans don't represent the entire university and fan base, nor does a couple players, but you just want you want the leaders of your team to lead by example first and foremost. So, I'm sure they both had talkings too by the coaching staff, different people at that university, be like, look, this wasn't it. Learn from it. Hopefully you don't have another catastrophe like this happens during the season, but just be conscious of what you're putting out there. Once you hit send, Coach Stockwell says, once you hit send, it ain't coming back, and everybody sees it, and it represents not only you, but you represent your players, your teammates, your coaching staff, you like all the way up. So you got to understand that you have a platform for a reason. With great power comes great responsibility. So just be conscious of what you put out there.
Once in them screenshots, people screenshot quick. I mean, you just can't get away from a screenshot. But anyway, look, if you're just jumping on the chat, if you're on Facebook or Twitter live, go over to the YouTube chat. Get some pretty good discussions over there. If you hadn't heard, guys, the GoFundMe for the people of Boone is up over $7,000 at this point. Amazing job. Thank you to anybody who's given $1, $100, $10, whatever. It's going to be awesome. It's going to, everybody that's involved with that, it's going to feel pretty good to be able to help that community out. Some more headlines. Let's get more into some football. How about the Ragin' Cajuns, Jeff? Is Terry Johnson finally going to be excited about this team that we've been telling him? We've been telling him for a couple weeks. He's doing this on purpose, I think.
I think
he's been all down in the dumps. But the Cajuns, boy, they got it done. Doinker from Wake Forest kicker at the end.
I mean, them and a couple other schools were trying to give that game away But
couple of them did give it
yeah, I
away.
know. So happy for the Cajuns and Terry Johnson for getting that win. That was big, man. That was big. And they should have won by a couple scores, but all that matters is you get the W. Shout out Ben Woolridge, man. This kid just continues to play, continues to get better. Had a big game against Wake Forest, and hey, they are rolling with some momentum, and they got some big conference games coming up. So hopefully this will carry them.
Yes, they do. That West, Texas State looking a little more human.
Yes, they are.
Louisiana looking a little better, but yeah, Woolridge 20 of 29, 257 and 3 TDs.
Big
and our boy Hank, I'll be back. Bachmeyer,
he was trying.
Late fourth quarter pick. You know, that's what'll do it. That'll do it. See, that's going to be a trend for some of these other ones. Because here's your other headlines. Here's your two that did give it away. Western Kentucky. Listen, and this is difficult. So see, when we're doing our poll, this is where games are very difficult with Western Kentucky, NIU, Texas State. You know, essentially, yeah, they. You know, Western Kentucky's up 20-7. You're like, they're up 20-7. This is a good team, Western Kentucky. But then they blow it. So which Western Kentucky is the one in the poll? Is it the one that got up 20-7 on a good Boston College team, or is the team that blew a 20-7 lead?
Yeah, and blew it with turnovers. That's the thing that kills me is, you know, them and NIU are handed in the game. You know, Western was winning. NIU should have been winning by a couple of touchdowns. I mean, fumble it on you know, in the red zone, like within the 5-yard line. Like, you just can't turn the ball over, especially against Power 4 teams. They're going to make you pay, especially when you have the game in hand. Like, just don't turn it over and you win the game. And it's just so frustrating. Like, I know the coaches are preaching it. Hold on to the damn ball. Make smart decisions, and you don't.
I know.
And you lose these games because of it. Not only does it give the other team extra possessions, they are momentum swingers. Like it just shifts everything there, and now you're on your heels, like trying to get back on balance, and you just can't. They just continue to take advantage of it.
Yeah, Western Kentucky up 20-7, and then they go interception, punt, fumble. There's your game, and then NIU. 2 interceptions, 2 lost fumbles in that game. I mean, you're not going to beat a whole lot of anybody like that.
No, but especially whether regardless of what like level they are in the Power 4, whatever tier in their conference, like they will capitalize. That is probably, other than depth, like one of the biggest things I've noticed of us playing these teams from a quarterback perspective. If you make a mistake, they don't drop the interception. They pick it off. Or when it's a fumble, like they don't get the fumble and then go 3 and out and punt it back. They get the turnover and they drive it down the field and just put the pressure back on you. You just can't turn it over.
Can't do it, Jeff. You can't do it. We talk about it all the time. You want to, like, how does NIU beat Notre Dame? They don't turn it over. They don't get penalties.
That's it.
How do they lose to NC State? The opposite.
Yep.
So, in some more positive news, this Mountain West, Jeff Murphy.
Stacked.
Well, let me bite my tongue a little bit. This UNLV and Boise State team, I mean, UNLV, they might be better. And it's not like Hajj Malik Williams threw it a ton, but he had only 3 incomplete passes, I believe, right?
Very efficient.
He can run it, you know.
He's a better runner
He's
than I thought he was.
Yeah, and he's just not as, you know, Sluka had that almost that weird ability, right? Where I can, you know, what would make Sluka a pain in the ass is he doesn't really look like he's that good of a runner. And even while he's running, he's breaking tackles is what Sluka was doing. Now Hajj Malik, I think open field is pretty damn good, can run it and he can throw it. He's a little bigger.
Yeah.
And when UNLV beat Kansas, we talked about it off air. I talked about it on here. I tweeted about it. I was concerned with Ricky White. It looked like he was loafing on many plays. It looked like he wasn't blocking. It looked like he wasn't running routes at full speed. And I watched him on Saturday, and Ricky White looked like the Ricky White that we thought we were going to see, that we saw last year. And I'm beginning to truly believe that they've been dealing with this Sluka NIL situation all season long. And they almost felt a weight off their shoulders when he left. And this is not a knock on Sluka. It's a knock on the situation. It's almost like they were relieved to be out there, but they looked like they played free. They looked like they played fast. Defensively, I mean, that Catalan kid, the transfer from Texas,
Stud,
that
dude.
interception he had down at the goal line, boy.
And he's been doing that. He's been doing that all season long.
He has.
Catalan's been great. Jackson Woodard, I mean, that dude comes downhill quick and lays the wood. Shout out to him. And yeah, man, I'm just happy for Haj Malik.
Yeah, me too.
You know, getting, the whole just entire situation, like for him to come in and play like he did was just awesome. And I'm happy for him. 13 of 16, 182 yards, 3 touchdowns, had another 119 on the ground with a touchdown. Couldn't ask for a better performance from him, from that entire team. And I said this on Friday. I said, I don't know how you get past all these distractions. If they do, this is a shout out to Haj. This is a shout out to the coaching staff for having everybody dialed in. And they jumped on board, man. When this happened, this might have galvanized the team even more, because it's given them all the momentum, all the firepower. This is not a bad Fresno. This is a very good Fresno State team that they dominated and dismantled on offense, on defense, and special teams. Shout out to UNLV and Coach Odom for getting it done.
Yeah, no question. And Jackson Woodard in the post game made a comment that Haj Malik Williams is one of his best friends on the team, which that says a lot. Normally in a locker room, when you have somebody that's the leader, their friends are other leaders, they're guys that they hang out with. They're probably, I don't want to speculate, probably not partying as much as everybody else is. But Haj Malik Williams has a chance now to be a Vegas legend. If they continue to roll the way that they're rolling, and he steps in and they don't skip a beat and they honestly kick it up a notch, he has the chance to go down in history at UNLV. And now you have the national attention. Everybody knows what happened with Sluka. That's the first time everybody wanted to talk about UNLV this season. Talk about that performance. And then Boise State in the late night. I mean, we've been talking about him. The Boise State fans put us on Ashton Jeanty last offseason because they had George Halani and they said, we'll just wait till RB2 gets his chance. I mean, this guy is, I've never seen anything like it. I mean, first of all, he's fast. He's fast.
Yeah.
He doesn't look like he would be fast, but his breakaway speed is ridiculous. Dude, I'm telling you, it is special. And if you were on Twitter at, midnight on Saturday, fortunately for me, I had just got home from the trip to Nashville, just got back to Georgia. And I was like, my wife was like, I'm going straight to bed. And I was like, well, bad news. I got to watch Boise State play. And Twitter was going crazy with all the talking heads. Like, look at this Ashton Jeanty guy. And I'm going to tell you, if that guy's not in New York for the Heisman, it's an absolute robbery. And I'm going to be honest with you. I keep hearing about Travis Hunter. I keep hearing about Cam Ward. I keep hearing about Jalen Milroe. Well, those guys, everybody, they talk about what's their Heisman moment, right? Like, what's the play? What's that one play? Ashton Jeanty has like 4 of those per game. Every run that he has is a Heisman moment, it seems like. I mean, they got a game in a couple weeks on October 25th on a Friday night, national stage, UNLV, Boise State. It's Boise at UNLV on a Friday night. I think it's FS1, 9 p.m. Eastern. That game is going to be magical. I mean,
It's gonna be
just
such a good game.
they better talk about that game the same way we had to hear about Alabama and Georgia all week this past week.
Oh, you know they won't.
And then here's the even better news, Jeff. There's a strong chance we get a rematch a few weeks later in a championship scenario. So both of those teams just look freaking. I mean, Genty, what was Genty's line? 26 carries, 258, 4 touchdowns.
That's insane. And the runs, his yards after contact are ridiculous. He reminds me of a more athletic Marshawn Lynch. If you go back and look at the Beastquake run when he was in Seattle and look at the run where he bounces off of like 3 players, stiff arms, jump cuts back inside. I mean, it was phenomenal. Go back and watch. If you didn't, do yourself a favor and go watch Genty highlights from this past weekend. Dude is unreal. He's a rare breed of speed, power, can catch it out of the backfield. What's your boy? What's his name? Devin A-Chain. Tweeted on the Miami Dolphins running back was like, this guy's like the top 5 best running back in the country, and that includes the NFL.
And he plays it. Yeah. He's a top 5 NFL running back, but he's still at Boise State.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was.
Dude, what about Boise State has just been pushing running backs out? Now, Genty's better than the rest of them, I think. And it seems like he's established himself as RB1 draft-wise.
Yeah.
I think he's surpassed like the Ollie Gordons of the world. The kid at Ohio State, Judkins, I think is his name. Not Joe, no relation to Joe Judkins, unfortunately. Joe, you didn't hit the lotto with your son Quinshawn. But yeah, dude, Genty, I was really hoping we'd get a chance to see him down at the Senior Bowl, but I think he's a little too much of a sure thing at this point. I think I hope Jim Nagy, if you're listening, buddy, throw him. I hope you've already invited him.
No, he's already got an invite.
He might be a first rounder.
Yeah,
he might be
100%. If he continues anywhere near this type of production, he's going to be a first round.
Yeah. And now, are we going to count that as a Boise State Power 4 win? I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
sounds like it.
I would. I mean, they're 1 year removed from the Pac-12, Pac Light.
They're still in the Pac-2.
Yeah, I know.
Anyway, the other headline we had, which this is going to be a big topic of discussion on Wednesday, so you guys make sure you stay tuned. A lot of people having problems with their student section not coming, showing up, leaving early. A lot of people having problems with the home side, the older folks not coming, leaving early. So we are going to try to figure out some things, what we can do, what athletic departments can do, what we can do as other fans, what you can do as players, to try to solve that problem. I know the biggest one was Troy, and everybody's going to chalk that up to, well, you can't schedule during Alabama and Georgia at the same time. Yeah, well, why not? Yeah, I don't go there.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know, but we'll talk about it. We will talk about it. We already talked about most of these P4 opportunities. Listen, we had 5 of them if you include Boise, Washington State. We should have went 4 for 5, but Western and NIU blew it. And then South Alabama, listen, LSU ran 3 offensive plays and we're up 14-0. Can't do it.
Yeah.
Can't. South Alabama, I realize it's LSU, whatever. They hadn't been very impressive. They got done by LSU kind of what App State had done by Clemson a couple weeks back. So can't have that. Can't have the 70 and 65-yard touchdown type plays. If you want to beat anybody, but then you definitely can't get down 14-0. I mean, the game was over at that point. In your non-conference, rough weekend for the MAC, Jeff. You said it on the phone to me yesterday. Buffalo just got absolutely bludgeoned by UConn.
Yes, they did.
I mean, less than 200 yards of total offense from Buffalo. Not a very good showing. And that defense that's been very good all season long, 47 points. Not going to cut it.
Yeah, we had a couple people in our poll that were like, why is UConn not in the poll? Not in the conference. I mean, do we need to start
Come on, UConn.
considering?
No.
I didn't
No,
think
no,
so.
no, 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 no. Because I get up here every week and shit all over Notre Dame for
That's
not
very
being in
true.
the conference. I'm not gonna. I realize it's a little different situation, but I'm not gonna do it for UConn. Now, if they want to come over to Conference USA or the American, I'm
They
actually
won't because of
surprised by that.
basketball.
Yeah, but they could get in the American. You got Memphis is a good basketball
true.
program. Oh, they haven't won much. A good program, but they haven't won much in a long time. Hey, James Madison, 63 points, 70 points last week, 63 points this week. Held Ball State to 7 points. Alonzo Barnett, 6 total touchdowns. Jeff, what's the key? 0 interceptions.
Pretty simple, really. And he answered the bell. I said, I want to see consistency. I want to see it week in and week out. And I know it's Ball State, but I don't care. You put up those type of numbers, don't turn it over. AB3 may be the real deal, man. They get in the conference here. We'll see how they do. I hope the Duke faithful is happy with their number 4 ranking in our poll. I think that's very realistic. That's the thing, guys. We try to be as realistic as we possibly can, take into all the factors, your previous games, who you've played, all those things. And you just give it time. If your team is the real deal, they'll find their way. They'll climb up in the poll, and they have. They're number 4.
The Boise State faithful were upset at us this time around because they're number 2, not number 1. But listen, I get it.
Look, that's going to get settled.
But
here.
I'm not. That's going to fix itself. But I'm not going to give Boise State the nod when UNLV is 2-0 against Power Fours, and they've been dominant all season long. They've not had a game where they haven't looked very good. Now, Boise, the way they played the other night, they look pretty damn good. So, I don't know. The way it's looking right now, I may pick Boise against UNLV. I don't know. But yeah, and James Madison, we used the proper logo for you this time too. I made it fit. It was really giving me problems fitting in the graphic properly. That's why I had to use the bulldog, because the JMU, it was in the little box. It looked just like an M. And I was like, well, nobody's even going to know. Then I was like, the JMU fans are going to be like, we're not even on the poll. And so I made it work. Number 4, I think that's good. I imagine they'll be upset that they're not number 3, but we'll see. We will see what happens. But the best part about Alonzo Barnett, 5 touchdown passes, 4 different receivers caught those. So he's just spreading the ball around too. I mean, they look to be really good. Texas State cannot blow a 22-0 lead. You cannot do it. Sam Houston is a good team. Okay. And this is where all the Conference USA hate, it's like, well, I mean, if Texas State is one of your best Sun Belt teams, Sam Houston is one of your better Conference USA teams, Sam Houston gets the win, but again, you can't blow that lead. And if you're Texas State, some fans getting on Twitter, relax, okay? Just relax. There's really only one program in the entire country, a Group of 5, Power 5, Independent, whatever, that has consistently been like, we're only going to lose one game or less team, and that's been Alabama. And that's been Nick Saban, Alabama. Everybody else, Georgia's only been doing this for a few years now. And even them, they're going to have a 2-3 loss season here and there. Ole Miss, everybody thought Ole Miss was back, and they lose a game. Everybody loses games. It's almost impossible to sustain championship success over time. Now, Texas State, you got to get there first. But they still might. That game means nothing for the conference.
That's what I was going to say. It doesn't mean anything. Yeah, you like to get that win. You should have got that win. And this is where some of the Sam Houston people were upset in our poll, because Texas State is still ranked higher. Texas State had that game. They didn't finish. Credit to Sam Houston for being poised, never giving up, staying in it, climbing back, and getting that win late. But overall, I still think Texas State, you play that game 10 times, I think they win 9 of them. But shout out to their coaching staff. Hunter Watson, great performance. You just, again, Texas State put the ball on the ground 4 different times. Now they didn't lose them all, but it's just the momentum, man. It's losing that, turnover. Now the offensive other team gets it, and it's just something about like putting the ball on the ground, and it just kind of throws everything out of whack. And but Texas State still has everything they want in front of them. Conference gets going now. Handle your conference, and you'll be right. You never know how everything's going to shake out. You just got to win your conference. That's your number one goal.
Yep. Miami gets a win, overtime win versus UMass. They play Toledo this week, so
Let's see.
again, that defense is a championship defense. That has got to be tough for those guys, Ty Wise, Matt Salopek, that came back for a championship run, and their defense is playing championship ball, and they just can't score points. I mean, they get the win, so you'll take the win, but overtime win, and you're getting 23 points.
Yeah, against UMass. I don't know what the line was on that game, but I feel like it was
something like 17 and a half or something big. Yeah. Another bright spot in the MAC, Central Michigan. And by the way, I saw one of the college football, tour guys that go on the tours. Central Michigan looked like it was rocking. Very underrated environment, it appears, based on some of the pictures and videos I saw from that game. So shout out to them. That's a big non-conference win over a decent San Diego State team. Just the way, like we've talked about, the way the MAC is, they're liable to come back next week and lose a conference game. Not to wish that upon anybody, but fire them up, Chips. You got a good little ball club down there, or up there, I should say. I'm telling you right now, Jeff, the Thundering Herd of Marshall. I've been talking about them for a little bit.
Yes, you have.
Keep your eye on the Marshall Thundering Herd. What did I tell you? I said they're physical on defense. They're physical on offense. They're big on the front. 39 carries, 243 yards rushing as a team. AJ Turner, 9 carries for 124. And then Stone Earl, Magic Jeff, didn't turn it over.
He did not throw a pick. He did have a couple fumbles. But you know what? Shout out to him for kind of, getting another opportunity here at Marshall. And he seems to be taking advantage of it. So happy for Stone Earl. And heck, Marshall's, the East is wide open. I mean, outside of James Madison seems to be the top team. It's anybody's conference. Now you're going to get into it, and we're going to really see how good these teams are. Because I talk about it all the time. Teams are built really not for the non-conference. They're built for conference against specific teams. So we're going to see how it translates.
Yep. Surprising one, Old Dominion over Bowling Green. 30-27. I mean, we've been talking about Old Dominion just plays everybody close. They play up, they play down, they play with whatever opponent they're playing. So they get the win. Shout out to Old Dominion. That was one that I thought could kind of surprise some people in the Sun Belt. They might still be able to do that. Kennesaw State, not good.
Nope.
They may be the next Sam Houston State though. So keep your eyes on that for next year for Kennesaw. FAU gets the win over FCS Wagner. New Mexico and New Mexico State. I didn't even write the score down on this. New Mexico won that game. No,
they did. It was like 50-40 something. Let me grab it here.
Yeah. That quarterback at New Mexico is kind of
50-40.
He's a problem.
Yeah,
he's a problem. Blue Raiders. Jeff, Memphis. This is what they do to me. It seems like every year. They win, but they kind of win ugly. They don't look great, and then they lose one that they probably shouldn't lose. They're just not. They just don't do it for me. Every week they don't. This is what it's been. I mean, they should dominate Middle. Middle is a bad ball club, and they just look very pedestrian.
I agree. And this is I can't figure out why, because they are so talented on both sides of the ball, but yet they don't come out fast. I mean, they don't really they don't pop off the page when I feel like they should. And that game should have been a lot closer to be honest. Amari Kelly catches a bomb from Vadiato, gets hawked down from behind, fumbles into the back of the end zone, ends up being a touchback at the very beginning of the game. And again, guys, those are momentum swings. Yeah. You're taking points off of your board, and then Memphis goes down and eventually scores. It's like you can't do it. Hold on to the ball. You just never know. But yeah, I agree. Memphis, they should be the team, but they just can't seem to like really put it together and look dominant.
I have a confession to make, Jeff. As I was driving home, my last little stretch, I couldn't get any of the games on Sirius XM. The only one I could get was the Alabama-Georgia game. So I did listen to it for about an hour. And one of the broadcasters, I don't think it was Herb Street or them because it was on the radio, but whenever Georgia came all the way back, because that game was about to be a bludgeoning. I was about to say, you Troy people that didn't go to the game, well, you missed out on a good game for watching this blowout. But anyway, one of the announcers said something like, how important is momentum in these games? Because you can look at one play completely can flip a game around, and it could happen early, it could happen late, it could happen right in the middle. I mean, we talked about South Alabama. You give up a touchdown on the first two offensive plays of the game, game's over. And you look at middle, you got a chance to go up right there, and you don't. And then Memphis, that is how not good teams lose to good teams who are playing not great. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Memphis didn't play great, but they're better than middle, and middle made they made mistakes, and that's how you lose those games. And when you make those mistakes and Memphis is playing well, that's when you get blowouts. You make mistakes against a good team who's playing good, not going to be pretty at all. Into conference play, let's get into the American. Buddy, Navy and Army just keep rolling. 2 touchdown passes for this kid, Horvath, quarterback. I would not want any part of Army or Navy at all.
None.
At
0.
all. They're both rolling. And then I got to say, we got to talk about it real quick. Trent Dilfer, boy, that seat's probably catching fire right now. And then what he said after the game, I can credit him. It was, I think, his grandson or granddaughter was wanting to come up on the press conference with him. That's fine. I would have said, hey, come on up, man. But the way he said it and exactly what he said is completely inappropriate. You're the head football coach at UAB, and what he said was, come on up, man. It's not like this is freaking Alabama, he said. In my words, come on up, man. This is not a serious program. This doesn't matter. This isn't, that's the way I take that. And you can't do it. You just can't do it, especially when you just got beat 41-18 at home in a conference game.
It's a bad look.
But anyway, it's an interesting hire that we weren't real sure about. It's not looking great.
Somebody compared it on Twitter. I think it was Saturday after they got blown out. It's like, was this a Dion Light similar type of hire being hired because of the name, so to speak, and it not working out? I don't know. I hate it because our boy Gilstrap, DB coach over there.
What else I hate is that it appears that the Colorado Buffaloes, they might be in this thing, Jeff. I don't know. You can't keep saying they haven't played anybody because that's all they are going to play.
Yep.
That Big 12 ain't a world beater conference now. No, Tulane looked about as good as they've looked all season against South Florida. And this is first I want to talk about South Florida a little bit. This is what we were worried about for this little stretch in their schedule. They're banged up. They just got done. They played Bama. They played Miami. Now they played Tulane. They still got to play Memphis, I believe. This is the part of the schedule where you're like, it's going to be tough for them. And we were saying, they'll be lucky to make it out of that stretch like 1-4. So, here we are. Now, to get dominated Tulane, Tulane was clicking. Clock management, ran the ball. Mensa looked pretty good. They're pretty damn good, Tulane is, when they're rolling like that.
Well, I think this is what we talked about is, they played, Kansas, State and they played Oklahoma. Like, say what you want. Those are physical games. And honestly, should have beat Kansas State. You know, you're a turnover, a couple plays away from being in that game, Oklahoma at the end. Tulane's good. They are well-rounded. They are well-coached. And I think the biggest bright spot for them is nobody saw Mensah coming, because that, for me, was the biggest question mark. And he just continues to get better, refine his game, and so poised as a freshman. Like, it's honestly shocking. And I think he can carry them to the championship game. I really do. He's a special
Jeff,
kid.
I'm gonna reenact Trent Dilfer right now. Come here, bud. No, my child is awake. He's coming in. I might have an interruption now. He's got to go potty. But we'll keep rolling. I might have him come on the broadcast, Jeff. It's not like this is Alabama.
That's it. I was going to say, please don't be like, it's not like this is unnecessary roughness.
It's not like this is First Take, Jeff. UTSA, Jeff, losing. ECU somehow keeps winning. They are the only team in the country that can turn it over every game
and win.
Keep winning. I mean, it's something to behold. But UTSA, they're struggling, and now the UTSA fans are coming off on trailer. It's like, guys, you just won the conference a year ago.
Yeah, no, that's exactly it. Like, you just gotta give Traylor. He has done enough to warrant a little bit of grace. Just give him some time. You guys lost generational program builders, a lot of them at once. It's going to take time, especially in this day and age of NIL transfer portal. Like, you got to build back. It's going to take some time.
Yeah. Hey, in North Texas, shout out Chandler Morris, 439 yards, 5 touchdown passes to 5 different receivers, by the way. So we talked about Alonzo Barnett spreading it around. Chandler Morris spreading it around. Their only loss is that debacle they had against Texas Tech. And I believe they're 4-1 right now.
Yeah. They look good. When they play like this, they look damn good.
Well, we talked about them being a dark horse, and when we were talking about all these Texas schools, we said North Texas ought to be there, and they might be the best one the way it's looking right now in the group of 5. I mean, Texas State still, the way they've lost a couple now.
Yeah, they just got a tough stretch coming up. They got FAU on the road, which they should be able to handle that. Then they go at Memphis, Tulane at home, Army at home. It's a tough 3-game stretch.
Yeah. What about the Charlotte 49ers getting a win? They need to stick with that kid Purdy at quarterback. Trexler Ivy started that game 8 of 21 for 54 yards and an interception, and then they made the switch. They gotta stick with Purdy, I think, and they might be okay. Rice, not looking fantastic.
No, I was wrong.
Yeah, and then, hey, how about the Panthers of FIU, Jeff? Pitbull Stadium on Noche Latina night down in Miami. Unbelievable. They get the win 17-10. This was the defense we thought that we might get from FIU, but they stopped the run. They didn't give up big plays. It's almost like magic,
Need to see more of it. Consistency.
Yeah. Going into the MAC, a couple rough ones. Ohio over Akron, 30-10, and then Eastern Michigan over Kent State, 52-33. I like Eastern Michigan scoring 52 points. I don't like giving up 33 points to Kent State. But this Eastern Michigan team is one to keep looking out for now.
Sneaky. Very sneaky.
Yep. And then we talked about the Mountain West a little bit. I wanted to talk about it a little more with that Fresno State UNLV game. My apologies, you guys. I'm not entirely sure where this kid's mother is. And he's scared of the camera. So we're just going to make all kinds of noise as we're standing right next to the camera. UNLV's defense, though, 4 sacks, 4 interceptions, 8 tackles for loss. They held Fresno State's running backs, Arsenault to 30 yards, and he got 20 of it on one play. Gilliam to 30 yards, and they held Malik Sherrod 9 carries for 5 yards.
Dominant.
You want to talk about Sluka or Hodge Malik and Ricky White, you got to talk about this defense.
To me, that was the biggest bright spot out of this game, was keeping that Fresno State offense basically at bay. Didn't really get much going at all. And then, the offense, we talked about it. Everybody on offense was going. Ricky White, 10 catches, 127 yards, 2 touchdowns. And that was the bulk of the receptions. DeJesus had a couple big plays in there, had a couple of nice kick return or punt returns. to flip the field. And to me, UNLV just looks dominant. Both sides of the ball, really all three phases. And if they can continue this, I mean, that showdown in Vegas against Boise State is the biggest game of the year, at least the way it's looking so far. But yeah, may have that game and then have a rematch coming shortly.
That's the way it's looking. And then how about Wyoming getting in the win column over Air Force, 31-19. I'll be honest, I didn't watch that game, but it seems like it probably went about the way it's been going for Air Force. Shout out to Wyoming. Maybe they can rattle off a couple of wins here. You never know.
Never know. Their schedule is somewhat favorable. Finishing it out.
Going down to the Sun Belt, Georgia Southern. I told you before that game, I thought that line was weird. Georgia State being favored. I think that was a trap because they beat Vanderbilt. But J.C. French, another game without an interception. He did fumble, though. But Jalen White and O.J. Arnold, both over 100 yards, both 2 touchdowns on the ground. Georgia Southern looks pretty damn good.
Yeah, I love Georgia Southern. I think that they are, and I said this when they played Boise, they're a good team. They just got to figure a few things out. I think that defense has a chance to be good, but J.C. French seems to be the story of this team. Not turning it over gives you a chance in every ball game. It just does. And excited to see what they can do continuing in the Sun Belt. 1-0 to start conference. That's huge.
Tell you somebody else who's undefeated in conference. That's the Warhawks of Louisiana Monroe, who go down to Troy with a 13-9 win. Jeff, they might be a good club.
I mean, they're 3-1. They're 3-1, Sprouse. What more do you want? Did play 3 different quarterbacks. But hell, you're getting wins. I don't care how it looks. W's are W's. And let me look at their schedule real quick. Wondering who they got next. Oh, James Madison at home. We'll see how good the Warhawks
find
are.
out real quick. You'll find out real quick about the Warhawks. And then Troy, man, you kind of had a feeling it would be, this is I was wrong on here. I thought they would start winning a couple. They might still, but it's just a weird year. New staff, completely new roster, coming off of 2 incredible seasons. You knew you weren't going to get expectations. And now how bad it gets still remains to be seen. I think they play Texas State on Thursday night, don't they?
I believe they do.
So that's a big one. I mean, will that be a passing of the guard to somebody else in the West? But let's get to voicemails. I'm going to try to find a babysitter here in the next minute or two. You guys keep calling that hotline, 615-900-4286. Give us your hottest takes, trash talk, anything and everything. We're probably going to play a few here today, and then we'll play the rest of them on Wednesday. But, Jeff, let's see what we got.
Yeah, we'll get right to it. And I just want to preface this. Did have a couple calls over the weekend from some Liberty fans, and it was, I think, before we really got to see how destructive the hurricane was. So out of just respect for, I think, both sides, I'm just going to not play those voicemails, but we'll get right to it. Good friend Terry Johnson was fired up.
About time, Terry.
Oh, 5 guys. Terry Johnson here. We just beat the cheating ass Wake Forest Demon Deacons. 4 of our players got knocked out. The game for bullshit starting calls. I'm currently running down the street with a Razor Cajun flag in my hand. My daughter's on a scooter, and I'm hyped as hell. Oh my God! Oh my God! I believe. I think I believe now. Oh my God! Oh my God! Oh my God!
Terry believes.
I was going to say, is he running?
He was. I saw his picture on Twitter. He had his flag.
I did see that. Well, that was a good-looking flag, too. It's kind of got the 3 panels, all the Cajun logos. Love it for Terry, man. Love it for the Cajuns. Love it for Coach Dez, too. And we know you can't – we know with these games you can't allow it to be in the ref's hands at the end. Otherwise, you ain't going to get it. So shout out to the Cajuns.
And he did have a second voicemail, but I'm going to just wait to play that on Wednesday. Split his up a little bit. And let's keep it going.
Hey, boys.
who's writing Twitter. Just wanted to thank y'all for the support for App State and the surrounding areas, especially with the GoFundMe. I just donated. I hope everybody that listens will give a little bit. What they're going through up there is unimaginable. It's thankfully not something that I ever had to deal with up there. And I've got some buddies that are still in Boone and some buddies in Linville that are really going through it. And it's a bad situation. I hate that the ball game got canceled because me and Trip and Sydney were planning on going up with some buddies and hanging out with Zach Green and some other Liberty folks. And I hate we're not going to get to do it, but I just wanted to tell you how much I appreciate y'all looking out and doing what you can for that community, because a lot of good people up there, and they're really going through it. So anyways, I hope it's a good weekend of football for everybody. I hate we're not going to be a part of it, but I just wanted to say thank you. It truly is a community, and we're blessed to be a part of it.
Appreciate you, Stu, and all your support over the years. It's, the least we could do. We wish we could do more, but
no question about that.
But always appreciate your support. Let's keep it going. We'll stick with Andrew at App State.
Hey, Group of Five guys. This is Andrew. I call in maybe once or twice a season. I message y'all on Instagram and whatnot. But I just wanted to say I was going to come in this weekend. It's Sunday morning and talk about some games and whatnot. But really, what I just want to ask is that y'all and all the listeners on here have Western North Carolina in your prayers. I live in Durham, but I've grown up around all around Western North Carolina, and it is probably the worst I've ever seen it. Obviously, App canceled their game, and that's disappointing, but App is completely underwater. Boone is underwater. Asheville completely underwater. I don't know if you know Chimney Rock State Park, but Chimney Rock's entirely washed out. The store's destroyed. There's just a lot of lamenting going on right now. It's devastating. So I was a little disappointed to see the reaction from some Liberty fans. The quarterback Salter posted a duck on an Instagram comment section thinking the App was ducking this game. I know that Liberty, I think, tried to reschedule and whatnot, but that is really not Boone's priority right now. And it's just a little disappointing to see. I've seen some really mean Instagram comments about the game being canceled and not rescheduled. But there are students without housing. I mean, there's people all over Western North Carolina. East Tennessee State, I heard, tried to even drive through Asheville to get to Charleston for their game, but they got stranded because the interstate was underwater and their bus got stopped. So it's just really bad. So just be in your prayers. I will say the one Group of Five thought that I had this weekend was I think Army and Navy can realistically play each other in the conference championship and then play each other after the conference championship in their Army-Navy game. So I think that would be interesting to see how that dynamic is. Maybe let me know your thoughts on that, but really just keep North Carolina in your prayers. There's a lot of people without homes, without places to live, and I don't even know if App will play a game in the next few weeks with how bad it is. So just keep them in your prayers. Thank y'all. Have a good one. Go Group of Five.
Appreciate you, Andrew.
Yeah, one thing I'll say too about the Liberty fans is, and we've said this before last year when we went up there, is don't judge everybody in the whole fan base over the tweets of a few idiots. The Zach Greens of the world, Jeremy's, those guys that we've got a chance. Spend some time with people in person, and you'll find out that they're good people. You know what I mean? And so a lot of people, and for what it's worth, App State fans have had a sort of a bad reputation from some fan bases too. And anytime we've gone, man, everybody's been nothing but hospitable, nice, all that. But yeah, definitely praying for the people of that area, and hoping that we can do whatever we can.
Yep. And to kind of go on his point about Army and Navy, that's going to be interesting because I'd have to look at the schedule and see exactly how those both shake out. And to see whether Memphis or Tulane play Army or Navy in that stretch. But yeah, wouldn't that be something? You get Army Navy championship game and then another game the next week for nothing.
Well, Navy already has the win over Memphis, so they already have the head-to-head.
That's true, yeah.
And I'm going to say something. We said this preseason when Army came over to the American and they announced that game wouldn't change and it wouldn't matter for the conference record. I said, well, this is conceding that neither of these teams will be in the running for the championship because, and as far as I know, is Selection Sunday not before the Army Navy game?
I think it's is
right after all of the championship games, from what I understand. So again, you've got to change that. I mean, I know you said what you said.
What's the point of having them in conference?
Because to be quite honest with you too, if I'm on the committee and one of them has won the conference and is undefeated, but still has a game, I would not be able to put them in because I'm like, well, they got another game on their schedule. They haven't played their whole schedule yet. That's not right. And every other year, they would have already accepted their bowl invite. So, now you're good. So now you don't want to play by the rules you've been playing by for the last, decade or so. I'm telling you, they've got to reevaluate this going forward. They've got to. To me, I'm Thanksgiving Day to me would be the ultimate American Army Navy game, conference game, rivalry week. Make it the only game on that day. But
I agree with you.
Anyway,
we'll see how it shakes out. Let's get to our last voicemail of the day, and then we will get to the rest of them on Wednesday.
Group of 5 guys, what's going on? This is Ben. Just left Laradise after my Wyoming Cowboys put a beat down on the Air Force Falcons. After a rough non-conference, we are now top of the Mountain West. Now that we're going to be getting rid of the unfaithful 5 that are leaving, it's time to start showing the remaining member of the Mountain West who's boss. It's time to start setting the tone. This conference is going to look a whole lot different, and it's time to start beating up on those guys. Evan Svoboda looked a lot better today. Kind of found himself a groove at quarterback. Sam Scott came in as the starting running back and was punishing people. I think that was a needed change, and we got the first win of the Sawvell era. So here's hoping things are looking a lot better after that tough non-con. I tell you what, it was tough losing all 4 of those games, but looking back, it definitely wasn't an easy group of teams we played. So feeling a lot better this week, boys. God bless the group of 5.
Appreciate you, Ben. Yeah, and that's the thing is you got to wait, get to your non-conference, get into the thick of your conference slate, and just take care of those. Worry about what's in front of you. If you do that, you never know where you can find yourself in that conference championship game.
Sorry, Jeff.
There he is. What's up, pal?
Say hey to the group of 5 world. Say, hey, group of 5 world. He wants to hide. That's all we got for voicemails for today, guys. We'll catch you on Wednesday. We're going to look at the try to see if we can figure out why the students don't come and see if we can figure out what we need to do to make them come to the games, as well as the people that are
don't come.
As well as the home side, get them to fill that. Make sure you follow us on all the social platforms at Group of 5 Guys. Go to YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your best podcast. Subscribe to the channel, leave a 5-star rating and a review. Tell your family and friends all about us. Hope you guys have a fantastic Monday and a fantastic week. We'll see you Wednesday morning.